Support for this podcast comes from St. Alphonsus Orthopedic and Sports Medicine Clinics, with physicians, physical therapists, and trainers who treat sports and performance-related injuries, with locations across the valley. More information on services and locations at stalphonsus.org/stay active.
From Boise State Public Radio, this is The Connector. It's Idaho's Daily News. Good morning. I'm George Prentice. Today, we'll tell you about the drop in the number of sponsors backing Boise Pride this year. We've got details on the FDA putting more restrictions on COVID vaccines. And we've got new analysis that shows that temperatures in Boise in the fall have continued to rise over the years. It is Tuesday, the 2nd of September, and here we go with today's stories. Fewer sponsors will be backing Boise Pride this year. Julie Licata tells us on how the event, scheduled for this coming weekend, is adjusting.
Boise Pride Director Donald Williamson says sponsorships this year are in a big hole.
We're going to be somewhere around between $200,000 to $250,000 short of what we have been able to fundraise, the last several years.
Williams says he suspects the rise of anti-LGBTQ rhetoric and policies are part of why some sponsors have pulled out.
There are probably a couple in there that are, because of this anti-DEI movement.
Some smaller organizations have held back in anticipation of tariffs and economic instability, while others are supporting the event with in-kind donations, playing it safe, Williamson says. The festival is moving to Ann Morrison Park this year with some changes. There's no Friday night event, and the budget for the headliner is smaller.
It's just little things here and there that, hopefully at the end of the day, it all works out to compensating for that shortage this year.
Williamson declined to name sponsors that had pulled out. The 2025 annual Boise Pride is this Saturday and Sunday. Julie Duqueta, Boise State Public Radio News.
The candidate filing period has closed for this November's elections. This being an odd-numbered year, we'll see a number of city and county elections. In the city of Boise, incumbent Councilman Jimmy Halliburton will be challenged by Lynn Bradescu and a familiar name, former council member Lisa Sanchez. In the city of Ketchum, voters will see a very unique ballot this year. Some of it will be traditional, voters asked to vote for mayor and 2 of the 4 council seats. But then they'll be asked to vote on whether Ketchum should remain with a mayoral and council form of government or whether they'd like to see a city manager form of government. One other wrinkle, if a voter chooses a city manager form of government, then they need to go back and vote for the people that they think should be the top 5 council members. Former Ketchum councilwoman Annie Korrick is behind the initiative.
To me, it's the precedent. The predominant question is, do you want to change the form of government? And then the rest falls into place.
But current Ketchum councilman Tripp Hutchinson says he thinks it will likely confuse voters.
For a vast majority of the voters, this is going to be a very confusing election.
But Korrick was not happy that the council, even though it was tasked to do so, were actually the ones working on the ballot language.
And I find it also troublesome to have people that are going to be on the ballot writing the ballot, and we already know where they stand on the position, how they feel about this particular issue. So that's a little disturbing to me.
And the general election is Tuesday, November 4th. The FDA has approved the newest round of COVID-19 vaccines, that while also tightening restrictions on who can receive them. Jackson Holmes tells us more.
The Food and Drug Administration approved vaccines for anyone over the age of 65 years old and kids and adults with health issues that may increase their risk of severe illness. The FDA also rescinded the emergency use authorization for the vaccines. Dr. David Pate, former CEO of St. Luke's Health System, told Idaho Matters last week that he is worried the new guidelines would make vaccines inaccessible.
The fear is that if these vaccines are not part of the official vaccine schedule and recommended, that under law, then insurance companies would not be required to cover their costs.
Central District Health told Boise State Public Radio it will continue to administer COVID vaccines following the board's decision in May. The health district also says it will adapt its practices to follow FDA and CDC requirements. The change to guidelines comes as Boise officials saw an uptick in the amount of the virus in the city's wastewater. Jackson Holmes, Boise State Public Radio News.
Nationwide, fall temperatures have risen by about 3 degrees over the last few decades. They've jumped even higher across the Mountain West and Southwest, where fall is warming faster than anywhere else. That's according to Climate Central, a policy-neutral nonprofit. Researcher Caitlin Trudeau says that extra heat brings real challenges for people in the West.
Think about the increased cooling costs from air conditioning. Think about the health impacts, the wildfire season that's expanding. Warmer fall means longer, growing season, which means more allergies.
Trudeau says human-caused climate change is making fall heat more likely and intense, and warns that if greenhouse gases keep rising, fall in the West may feel more like an extended summer. For the Mountain West News Bureau, I'm Caleb Rabin.
And that is today's episode of The Connector. I'm George Prentice. We'll see you back here on Wednesday. To stay in touch with the news between now and then, check out BoiseStatePublicRadio.org or download the free Boise State Public Radio app. And thanks for listening.
It's rare to find a podcast that can actually change your life. But when the show's called Life Kit, that's kind of the whole point. I'm Mariel Segarra. 3 times a week on the Life Kit podcast, we guide you through a topic we could all use help with, from personal development to healthy living to managing your dinero, with takeaways so you can start living what you learn right away. Escucha el Life Kit podcast from NPR.